Welcome to another SourceFuse Talking Out Cloud, our Friday leadership chat series. And today, we're looking at how both leveraging cloud technology and working with a cloud consulting partner can really help in supporting a business journey. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with SourceFuse, we have 16 years of deep expertise, commitment to digital innovation, service excellence, and customer success, transforming enterprises through bespoke, secure, and scalable cloud solutions. My name is Liz Grint, Marketing Manager here at SourceFuse, and I'm really pleased to be joined today by Megan Hayward, Founder and CEO of Temporary Assistance Guru, or TAG, to share her insights on her own business journey. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you for having me on here. I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's really good to have you here too, Megan. Perhaps I could start by asking you just to tell us briefly a bit about your background and experience in relation to the temporary staffing industry.
Absolutely. So my first job out of college was with a temporary staffing agency. I was put in charge of about 5 offices in the Baltimore, D.C. area. Did really well. Ended up moving to Denver with my now husband. And instead of trying to find a job with another staffing agency, I just figured I could do it myself and start my own company. So at the ripe age of 24, decided to go for it and was profitable within 6 months. Trial by fire, you figure it out or you swim or you sink. And I decided to figure it out. And was working with a lot of big locations, so stadiums, convention centers, arenas, things like that, and saw the same issues everywhere I was staffing. And the venues that I was staffing for were having the same issues with all the staffing agencies. And I just decided that, you know what, I'm going to get out of the staffing sphere. I'm not going to actually provide the temps anymore. What I'm going to do is create a software that is going to handle all those issues that I saw across the board, and handle issues for temporary staffing agencies and their clients, not just cater to one side of it. I wanted to fix the whole industry in the way it's done.
That's brilliant. So you founded TAG, and I was curious about where that spark of an idea originated. What was your key objective when you were starting out?
Yeah, key objective was just to make the process simpler. A lot of it was paper and pen. A lot of outdated technology was going into staffing, and there just wasn't an updated way of finding a new staffing agency, getting a new contract, placing orders, and trying to receive temps at these venues. And I just figured there has to be an easier way. And I looked and nobody had created an easier way. So I figured, why not me? I know the industry really well. I know what companies would want, what would make their lives easier. And so instead of waiting around for someone to develop it, I decided to develop it myself. And it was literally born out of just a need that I saw on both sides of an entire industry that nobody was fulfilling.
So we've come a long way since pen and paper. But today, from where you were to today, how does TAG address the most critical business needs when it comes to the temporary staffing industry?
So we've enabled hiring companies, is what we're calling them, the companies that need temporary staffing agencies. We've enabled them to have a platform and be able to view multiple staffing agencies, place orders with those multiple staffing agencies, do it all for one contract, do it all for one price point, and do it all with just one order, even if they're receiving their temps from 10, 15 staffing agencies. And so really condensing that process. And SourceFuse was one of the first companies I went to. They have an office here in Jacksonville, and went and met with SourceFuse and said, hey, I have an idea. I'm not a tech person. I don't know the first thing. When I started this, I didn't even know what SaaS meant. I didn't know what cloud meant. I didn't know anything. I said, I have an idea. Can it be done? And met with Kelly from SourceFuse, and he sat me down and he said, I think you can do it. We're going to have to put some processes in place. And they really walked me through from A to Z what it's going to be. And we've come a long way from that initial meeting. And I'm still a non-technical founder of a tech company, but SourceFuse has definitely made my life a little easier.
I always think of it like a car. We don't always have to know exactly what happens under the bonnet to be able to drive it smoothly. Uh,
Absolutely.
so you've worked with us for a little while now, but as you will have experienced that any project with SourceFuse always starts with a full assessment of the client's current environments, no matter how much tech is involved. So when you first approached SourceFuse, what challenges were you specifically looking to address?
I had had an idea and had kind of had a mock-up of what I wanted Tag to eventually be. And the one thing I think I am most grateful for SourceFuse is not just creating a good software, which is great, but they told me, okay, if you want it to do this, we have to do this, this, and this to get there. And it's stuff that I had never even thought of. I didn't even know that we had to connect all these different pages, or that all these things had to function correctly, and what a story was to get the software to do what it needed to do. And they really walked me through all those steps. So I went from having, basically a mock-up of a general idea to a fully functioning software that, has clients, and I'm onboarding people consistently. And I really couldn't have done it without SourceFuse and their help, from everything from the design to, like I said, telling me what I needed to do to even get to my end goal.
That sounds like a really good experience. And I think you've read my questions before because actually my next question was going to be what was your experience like working with SourceFuse? But perhaps I could ask you to tell us a bit more about how the partnership has evolved or is continuing to evolve.
So we've added extra people on the team from where we started, and the QA has evolved. The staging atmosphere has evolved. I know what staging is now, so that's always a plus a year later. And so we've added to the team as we've grown and we've seen our needs change. But to me, the coolest thing is watch this. When you first have an idea for something, the core of what you need it to do, but you don't always think of the outside pieces. And so watching what I originally had an idea for evolve into this fully fledged and fleshed out software that can actually help people, it's been incredible, honestly, because the things that my software is doing right now, I didn't even think about a year ago. And so not only have we handled most of the core issues, we've added to it, and it's something that is taking on a life of its own, and that's pretty incredible to watch.
That's great. So it sounded there like sort of went, exceeded your expectations in that you didn't know what was possible. So sort of growing together, which is really, really unique as well. Now I read somewhere that your passion really is to forge new ways for the temporary staffing industry to conduct business. So tell me, Megan, what can we look forward to in the continuing evolution of TAG?
Yes, so we definitely have plans for a mobile app to make the entire process streamlined from your phone. And we're consistently adding on to making onboarding temporary employees easier for staffing agencies, and coming up with ways to just automate the process and even automate the resume process. So instead of an employee coming to you and saying, hey, here's my resume, we create the resume also based on the work that they've done through TAG. And so there's a lot of good ideas coming, and basically making the entire process easy, simple, affordable, and I don't know, just more accessible, especially for the hiring companies, because changing staffing agencies has always been just such a pain, and it's such a pain point, honestly. From the contract to the ordering, it's a huge pain in the butt. And so trying to just make that whole system fun, not fun, but simple, I guess, and something that's not a stressor. I feel like there's enough stress in the world. This doesn't have to be one of them. And for a lot of companies, temporary staffing is one of the biggest stressors that they have. And, trying to alleviate that is probably my end goal.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about not necessarily being a tech person, but knowing what it is, what's really needed to help people overcome the headache of a digital system or platform. So yeah, really exciting future ahead. I just want to say a huge thank you, Megan, for joining me today. It was really interesting.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate all that you guys did, and SourceFuse will continue to do. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Exciting for both of us. And thanks as well to our audience for watching today. You can watch all of our previous interviews on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next Talking Out Cloud with SourceFuse. Goodbye.